The word theology comes from two Greek words. One is theos, the other is logos, and logos means discussion or a word, and theos means God, a discussion about God. But who is God? And if you ask that question, you'll get a variety of answers depending on who gives the answer, because we all come from different contexts. If you are a Hindu or a Buddhist, the idea of God is much more pantheistic, the idea of God being in everything. Pan means all. And God is considered as an impersonal force. And in Hindu theology, we're seen as like streams that go down, all the streams running down into the sea of consciousness, which is God, the sea of God. Do you see that? And but God is non-personal. In various forms of the New Age movement today, of course, in the same sense, it's seen as non-personal, a kind of panentheism. God in everything, like, you know, the sort of the spirit of the trees and the rivers and the rocks and the flowers. And if you were speaking to a Muslim, you would have an idea of God in a strictly non-Trinitarian perspective. The answer in the question, who is God? To a strict monotheist like an Islamic scholar, would be God is one. As to a Jew, an Orthodox Jew, God is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. So their answer to the question, who is God, is strictly non-Trinitarian. And if you spoke to a Mormon, the idea would be, again, non-Trinitarian, almost polytheistic or tritheistic, three gods, and a material sense of who God is. And if you were speaking to a Jehovah's Witness, again, the answer would be non-Trinitarian. Jesus is not God, he is less than God, but God, the Father, Jehovah God, is one. So there are some current challenges if you're asking the question, who is God? But we have to ask the question, what is God like? Well, the Christian answer is basically twofold. God is transcendent, and God is immanent. And transcendent means he is beyond everything. Immanent means he's in everything. So you can see that it's like they're trying to get the best of both worlds. And there's the classic example of God as transcendent is that he is not in creation, but he upholds creation. He formed everything, but he is not in it. He can be seen in it. He can be understood. His invisible qualities, Paul said in Romans 1, are manifest through what he has made. But he is not in those things. He can be perceived through them. And Isaiah said, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and lifted up. A sort of picture of God being transcendent over his creation. He created from the outside. But at the same time, if you continue that same passage in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 3, he dwells with us. And Isaiah is overcome with this sense of God being near to him, his vision in the temple. And his woe to me, a man of unclean lips, living in the midst of a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the glory of the Lord. And it's a picture of God present and active within his creation. And of course, for a Christian, the classic example of the immanence of God is the incarnation of God in Jesus Christ. That God is not separate from his creation, but he is intrinsically involved through the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. So the Bible is both transcendent and immanent. The Islamic view is much more transcendent than the biblical view. If you read the Quran, it is just a word from the beyond, through the angel Gabriel, but a word spoken to man, and that's it. Obey it. A word from the transcendent one God. The Hindu view is much more pantheistic. than the Bible. But according to the Christian belief, God is not either transcendent or immanent, but both. And the truth is in both extremes, not trying to find the middle way between both, but in both extremes. And it's a paradox, but it's a paradox that has to be grasped fully in order to appreciate the Christian understanding of God. He is both beyond and as close as breathing. He is the Lord of creation, and yet he is not in creation itself. He is transcendent and immanent. Amen.